Hello and welcome to this hopefully first of many videos where 1. I answer your questions that you left on comments in the videos or somewhere else, and B. tell you what's coming up in the next several weeks or months depending on whatever's coming up. So to get things started off, I've got a couple questions here from a couple of comments on YouTube, and we're going to start with Mana E, who asked, how do you level them so fast? This referencing to how do I level up all the DPS classes that I have leveled up for Final Fantasy XIV for my videos. Well, the answer is, 1, I have the time to invest into it, but the other is that I had on pretty much every DPS class at level 15 because I'm not sure if it's still the case, but you needed 2 classes at level 15 in order to unlock the jobs, which is a system that makes no sense to me, but that's how it was. And so because of that, every single class in terms of DPS was at level 15, so I decided to do the most efficient way, even though it's really boring and tedious, and literally spam Paths of the Dead all the way until 60. And this sounds a lot easier than it is because after running that place for hundreds of times, like literally hundreds and hundreds of times, you start to get really tired of it. And especially when people insist on trying to find the silver chest for the weapons because they don't have them maxed out for some reason, that, well, you get the idea. Then from 60 to 61, I go to Gurabania, the level 60 to 61 zone, and I do Fates there until I hit 61. This usually takes around 4 to 6 hours depending on how lucky I am with Fates, and if there are other people doing them with me. The more people there are, the faster they get done, so the quicker it goes. And lastly, from 61 to 70, all I do is I spam the dungeon queue. And by that, I don't mean any of the special queues like leveling or expert. I just go to the Stormblood dungeons and select the one that is most recently open. So at 61, from 61 to 63, you only have access to Ghostbark. So I spam that until I hit 65, and then once I open up a new one, spam that one, and so on and so forth, until 70. And that tends to work pretty well because it gives you the experience you need to actually learn how to use the class outside of Paths of the Dead. Because as you probably figured out, Paths of the Dead automatically throws you in at level 60, and that's really not particularly useful for learning how to play a class because you get overwhelmed by pretty much everything. So going through dungeons over in Stormblood is definitely my choice of leveling. And yeah, that is really how I level them so fast. And second question from Manuel from YouTube as well. He says, for a new player, do you recommend Ninja or Dragoon or another class? Now, if you're a new player, and that can mean a lot of things. For example, have you ever played any other MMOs? Are you completely new to the MMO genre? If so, then that's completely different from someone that has played MMOs but wants to know what class is easy to learn to get the understanding of the systems of the game and so on and so forth. So, because I'm releasing this video at the same time as my Red Mage video, I would have to say that the easiest class to pick up and play is definitely the Red Mage, but it isn't that particularly interesting. But really, in the end, it all comes down to what class do you enjoy playing, and the only way to figure that out is by testing them, honestly. The nice thing about Paths of the Dead is you can just go in, try out a class by going to floor 50, and you can get a very vague idea on how it plays. Now, in reference to the Dragoon and the Ninja, I'm going to have to say that the Dragoon has a very lengthy combo that needs to be repeated in Paths of the Dead of 8 abilities, one after the other. While meanwhile, the Ninja only has 3, 4, 5 abilities that you alternate between them to reset your Huton and everything else, along with learning the ninjutsu combinations for your ninjutsu, obviously. But yeah, from those two, I would have to say definitely Ninja, because it doesn't pack everything into one rotation, and the ninjutsu you can learn easily just by creating a muscle memory from it, just by practicing it over and over again. And that is pretty much that. Now, upcoming content. Well, we do have Dragon Ball FighterZ and Monster Hunter World coming out at the end of this month. But before that, from this Sunday, which is from the 7th of January to, I believe, the 14th, it is Games Done Quick, and that's going to be on Twitch, so I highly recommend you watch that. But when it comes to me, so Monster Hunter World comes out on the 26th, so I'm definitely going to be playing that. It's unfortunate that it's not coming out on PC until late in the fall, so I'm going to end up playing it on the PS4, which is another bad thing because the friend that I played Monster Hunter with only has an Xbox One or Switch, and Sony just doesn't like, for some reason, letting players join with their friends on other consoles through cross-platform play. So yeah, there's that. Then On the slightly closer side, I am almost done with Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, just. Right now, I'm working on my way to leveling up to max level so I can fight the Adamantoids. That thing is absolutely massive. There's really no other way to describe it. And hopefully once I actually get that there, I'll record it and you can see how long it actually takes to fight that thing. And lastly, because I'm pretty much done with all the DPS classes in Final Fantasy 14, unless something crazy comes out like a new dungeon or anything like that, I'm probably going to take a break from the Final Fantasy for a little bit. And something that came up in my mind a couple of days ago is that I really wanted to play Jet Set Radio Future again for some odd reason. So I may do that just because it's fun and easy and it's a game I really enjoy, and because many of you may not have seen it and you may enjoy it. It's got some pretty funky music and all that. And now, this is where you guys get to say what you want to see on the channel, because I am taking suggestions. Now, the only caveat here is that unlike other YouTubers out there that have all the money in the world, I have very, very little money. And so that means I can only really buy one big game a month if I try really hard and save up and not spend on frivolous things like TCGs and all that other stuff. So, what kind of content can we put on this channel that you want to see? Well, let's take a look through the general options of everyday life. First, there's the usual Let's Plays, and we all know what those are. Now the question is, are you interested in Let's Plays, and of what games and what type of Let's Play? Because there's two different types. There's the blind Let's Play that usually take a lot longer, and it's usually best to do those for games that aren't open world RPGs because that will take forever. And then there's in-depth walkthroughs like the one I was doing for Final Fantasy VII like a year and a half ago, where I pretty much knew exactly what to do everywhere because I've played that game so many times now. So yeah, those are the two different Let's Plays styles that we can do. So if you want to see a Let's Play, leave a comment with what type of game you want to see or what game and what type of Let's Play, and yeah. Then we have streams. Now, Monster Hunter World is definitely something I'm going to be streaming because if it's anything like Monster Hunter, and it is basically a bunch of go out and hunt the same thing 20 times until you can get the armor you want so you can then go hunt something brand new. And yeah, so that really doesn't lend itself to YouTube content properly because I am no expert in that game. I'm just a casual player. So that's going to be that on streams. However, what other things would you like to see streamed? Are there games out there that you would like to see? Would you like to see me try and fight Adamantoids live? Is that something you're interested in? And yeah, that sort of thing. And then what other thing do we have? Let's see. When it comes to video game related content, that's pretty much all there is. So what about non-video game related content? Are any of you guys interested in anything like, say, I don't know, learning to drive when you're like 13 or something? Well, not really 13, like the first steps to learn how to drive or how to survive as a bachelor or something like that. Or you may not know this, but I live in Mexico City and there are a lot of very hidden places here to eat that are very, very good. So would you be interested in me going to those places to eat and show you what I order and where they are and everything? So, yeah, that's basically it really. So if you wanted to see some kind of content on this channel or a very specific game, now is a chance to, well, literally leave a comment on it. Also make sure you read through other people's comments, and if somebody already suggested the same thing you wanted, make sure you upvote theirs, and that way it gets bumped up and I can see it easier. So yeah, that really was it. So, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time for, I'm not really sure what will be, so later.